Right, we are live. Let me make a little adjustment here. So, what I want to talk about today is, I think, fundamentals is one of the key things. Let me just adjust this down a little bit. So, I've been doing some other bits. There we go. That's a little bit better. So, fundamentals is still one of the most important things that we need in our Google Ads or whatever platform you're using. We need to have this mindset that if we're going to use a platform to advertise, make sure that you understand the platform that you're advertising on. All too often, I'm seeing, and this is becoming more and more common, is advertisers or agencies running ads for other brands, businesses, and just having this massive disconnect on the basics of how to set up Google ad accounts. Unfortunately, our industry is not regulated, and I see agencies with lots of clients, and sometimes I'll get accounts to audit, and then I'll take those accounts away, and it's just absolutely shocking the the misunderstanding of how to set up Google ad accounts. I recently case studies. Let's go through a case study. So I recently did an audit, which I then that audit then became a client. They were spending over $50,000 a month on ads, and there was literally, I think I worked out about $19,000 being wasted a month because the account was not set up correctly. And the audit that I did uncovered, and it was just more and more that I was uncovering. But these were very, very fundamental errors that had occurred. Now, there was some campaigns running. One of the campaigns was the issue that had occurred, which the advertiser had created the issue, which again, this is the lack of experience, the lack of understanding of the platform is what I'm seeing. So what it was, there was a target CPA strategy that had been created. And this particular campaign was spending around $1,500 dollars a day. And it was targeting a country. And the issue was the target CPA had been set at 130. So when you go into an account, you set your bidding strategy, where that could be CPC, max clicks, max conversions, and then for this, which was a lead generation company, it was a maximized conversions target CPA. Absolutely fine, no problem with that particular strategy. You can set that strategy. But where the issue had become an issue was the target CPA was set at $100. Now, the actual, based on the data that I was seeing, the actual cost per conversion was at 450. And what happened is the client had asked the agency to increase the budget. They wanted more leads to come through. But as they were increasing the budget, this campaign started off at 1,000. They went from 1,000 to 1,250, and then up to 1,500. Actually, it was actually a little bit higher, 1,800 when I last seen the account, which was last week. So the final figure was 1,800 a day on ads. So they'd scaled way too aggressively. And then on top of that, as they were scaling or trying to vertically scale, which is just increasing your budget, what was happening? Results would be getting less and less and less. And the issue was that they couldn't understand why. How can you put more money into a pot and get less back? Well, the problem was that because the target CPA was set at 100, and as they were increasing the budget, the actual cost per conversion was then becoming higher and higher. They were literally, the disconnect between the target CPA and the actual bidding strategy, or the actual cost per conversion, there was a massive difference in the two. They were actually suffocating the account, so the account wasn't able to perform. They had literally, by creating this strategy, had set the account up to fail. And by putting more money into Google happily took their money. Thank you very much. Yep. Keep it coming. Keep scaling. But they were suffocating the account because their cost per conversion was set at 100, but it was originally around the 250. Then it went to 350, and it kept rising because they were putting more money into it, suffocating it because it was the wrong strategy, because the cost per conversion they set was too low. So they hadn't made the adjustment as they were increasing the budget. So What happened? Performance, clicks and impressions were starting to tail back, and the actual account was getting less and less. So that's why they came to me, which was unfortunate because um, a lot of the times when I see accounts, there's been a lot of damage and a lot of money, good money spent, which drives me out of the wall because there's no need for it. Because we need to understand the platforms that we're advertising on, and if we can understand the platforms that we're advertising on, then we're going to generate more money for us or more leads for our businesses or the businesses that we represent as professionals that we should be giving our very best. But if we don't understand the platforms, if we don't understand how to get the maximum potential, then how does our clients know what's actually going on? So it was a simple fix. It's not a simple fix. The adjustments that I made, I took it away from a max CPA strategy and I took it back to a max conversion strategy. Why did I do that? Because I needed to release the handbrake that had been set by the previous agency because they added in the target CPA and hadn't adjusted it based on real life data. So I took the maximized conversion, took it back to a maximized conversion strategy. And then the other issue that I found was they were on a smart bidding strategy, which is a max conversion strategy. Okay, so we took it from CPA back to max conversion strategy. That's fine. So that's still in a smart bidding strategy. So using Google's AI. The second problem occurred, but even though we were on the right bidding strategy, the keywords that they were targeting were all phrase match. Guys, if you want to use the maximize potential for Google, you need to add in broad terms and or you need to be on a PMAX strategy. If you're not on either of these, then you're not maximizing your potential because you're on smart bidding. And again, I don't care if you increase the budget by 1,000, by 2,000, by 10,000 a day. I don't care. You will not be seen everywhere in Google because you haven't got the right strategy based on the platform. And this is what I keep saying. Understand the platform. Don't go with people's made up strategies, the scale to the moon strategy, the I've created a new strategy. Forget about all that. We need to understand the platforms that we're working on, the maximize potential. So Google has said in its data that it releases, and I've known this for a long time, is to be seen in all of Google, which is the AI overviews. We need to make sure that for a search campaign, that we're adding in broad terms, or you have a PMAX campaign. There was no PMAX campaign, so we added in. So I've added in some broad terms to give it also the volume. And the way that we control that is by adding in negative keywords. And if we can understand these fundamentals, guys, we're going to be able to get the very best out of the platform. And again, I actually may take this case study and actually put it into a YouTube video. So I think it's very, very helpful, very useful. And I honestly believe the misunderstanding of accounts that I'm seeing and thinking by throwing more money into bad accounts. I wish more people could see this video because I believe, honestly, this will save people a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of resources, and just a lot of heartache. Just by understanding, having the right bidding strategy, you need to be on the right bidding strategy. You need to set those bidding strategies correctly. So what I've done is I've taken it back to a max conversion strategy. So it's on smart bidding, and I've added in some broad terms, started to pour some of these phrase terms. The other issue that we found is that even though we had phrase running, we still didn't know for some of the conversions that were happening in another campaign because it'd been set up very similar. The actual keywords that were triggering the ads because it was all phrase. There was no exact. Guys, you need exact because the exact will tell you as close a variant as possible what's actually been triggering your ads. If you don't have that, how the bloody hell do you know what's working? It's just frustrating, and you probably hear that in my voice, that I just see a massive disconnect. And again, I come back to my opening minute. It's a shame. This isn't some sort of regulated industry. I see lots of accounts going to lots of agencies who do a lot of talking, but no actual understanding of how to run accounts to get them going, get some success in the beginning. When you launch a Google Ad account, chances are you'll get some success, but as you then run the accounts, you'll find that your success will tail off, the results will tail off because you're not making the right optimizations, you're scaling accounts that shouldn't be scaled, or you run into problems where you're adding in a target CPA strategy, which isn't correct, because then you start suffocating in the account. And what happens is either yourself, if you haven't educated yourself, or your the client that you're running the ads for are paying money. You're making excuses because you don't actually know why your account is suffocating or failing. And the simple fact is that we need to understand the bidding strategies. We need to set up the accounts correctly. And I come back to, I will always say this, the basics are still the most important, but yet they seem to be the most skipped part of Google Ads. And then once we set up the basics, get the accounts running, it's some simple optimizations. But everyone seems to be setting up accounts, skipping a whole lot of steps and going straight to, I'm going to write my headlines descriptions in ChatGPT. If you want to write your ads using AI, I'm going to create a video around this as well. Use Claude. Claude's a superior platform to use than ChatGPT, number one. Number two, educate yourself on how to, the persona of an individual. So features, advantages, benefits, call to action, emotional triggers. Guys, everything we do is based on emotion. And if you can understand emotions, so, when you go to buy something, do something, it's based on an emotion. So we need to have some emotional triggers in there. It's not just about the benefit or the feature of a product. Yeah, we need to put it in there. We get up to 15 headline placements. So try to put one or two similar terms in, and then one or two slightly different. So maybe the first two headlines could be benefit led, the next two could be emotional triggers, the next two could be call to action, as like call us, fill out the form. Different headlines for different people, different strokes for different folks, guys. And it's the thing why we have so many headlines. Don't have all the same headlines and all the same descriptions. Why would you do that? You need to be appealing to different people. And again, different headlines and different descriptions are going to appeal to different people. So make sure you're giving yourself the best chance of success for your Google Ads. And unfortunately, you want to know the hack? There is no hack. It's just you have to do a little bit more work, a little bit more of the basics, and then we will look good. But we can only do that if we set up the account for success. So features, advantages, benefits, emotional triggers, call to actions. Again, if you want to expand that, that's absolutely fine. Discounts are working well with a price of 20%. Get your, I don't know, your chiropractor 40% off, starting at £50, $50, whatever. Those type of headlines and descriptions, again, are working well. And put in a bit of humor, guys. Humor, make someone smile, make their day, stand out. We're in a very crowded industry, and we need to stand out. And the way we can do that is just by being unique to ourselves, gives ourselves an understanding of what's going on, and really just giving ourselves the best opportunity to get the very best, the very most from the platform, and also for the money that you, or if you're advertising for somebody else, for them, you owe it to them to do a little bit of work. So I hope that makes sense. I wanted to jump on because I just get very, very frustrated what I'm seeing time and time again. And I want you guys to improve your Google Ads. And the best way to do that is to immerse yourself, to understand the metrics. The better you understand the metrics, the better you'll make your decisions. And you'll make a decision not based on anything else other than the metrics. So understanding the metrics is so, so, so important. I hope this makes sense. Have a fantastic day. If you have any questions, as always, or you want me to look at your account, let me know. I'm always happy to do that.